Welcome to another episode of One on One with Mitch Lafon. Joining me this week from the Scorpions, Rudolf Schenker, the one, the only Rudolf Schenker. This episode is brought to you by the Heavy Montreal Festival taking place August 7th, 8th, and 9th at beautiful Parc Jean Drapeau in downtown Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Slipknot, Korn, Faith No More, and many, many more on the festival this year. And to discuss Rudolf and, of course, his band, Brittany Fox, is the one, the only Johnny D, who also plays drums for Doro. Good day, Johnny.
Good day, sir. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, it's great pleasure. We go back many, many years. I think one of the first times I met you was at an event or a show in Lewiston, Maine. Do you remember that one where it rained so much that Noah's Ark had to come pick us up?
was was that
It was
was
with
that
Stephen Piercy,
yes.
Vince Neil,
Yes.
you,
Slaughter
Brittany
maybe?
Fox. Yes, it was with Slaughter,
Yeah.
Brittany Fox, and it just rained so much. Literally, Noah's Ark drove right up to the bus and said, "Hop on, folks."
Yeah. It was excellent. All the animals,
Oh
we all had
yeah,
a good time.
yeah. What a great night. So, you work with a German artist with Doro. Um,
I do, yeah.
is there any kind of German compatriot stuff going on with the Scorpions? Have you been able to check out a bunch of Scorpion shows out in Germany? Is there a lot of talk about the band?
There's definitely, I mean, I grew up a Scorps fan, first and foremost, and so being in Germany and kind of hearing stories from Doro and just the curiosity and fan factor for me was always high. Um, uh, and I think that the top moment of it all was when we did our 25-year anniversary show for Doro, and she loves to have special guests on pretty much everything she does. And
Hmm.
the 20-year show we did was, we had Lemmy come out. They did a few songs together, and so for 25, we had Tardia from, ex Nightwish, a lot of really cool people. But there was just that big kind of name missing. And I don't know how it worked out, but Dora reached out to Klaus and Rudolph and mentioned the idea. And they were like, yeah, sure, we're in town. We'll come down. And she was blown away. We were like beside ourselves because it was, just an honor to be, to have such a band, help out and come down. And the camaraderie, like you said, was just awesome, man. And then the fact that me and the guys got to play some of the, two huge Scorpion songs in an arena full of people. I mean, it was definitely surreal for me, but man, definitely a highlight of my
Playing.
time. Yeah, and playing with her and playing, getting to play with other artists and stuff like that. It's a little overwhelming when you're on stage live and you have to kind of pull off last minute things like that. I mean, they literally came in two cars and just like jumped up on stage for a quick sound check. And it's funny because Rudolph was just, be like some directions. Yeah, at the end of the song, I will jump three times and you crash three times, and then this is the end, and I'm just like dying, man, cracking up and trying to not be nervous at the same time. But it was a blast, man. I have to say, we really had a great time, and it was so cool of them to just come down and support Doro and and do that for her. That was really, really cool. You don't find that too often. Everybody's wondering, oh, what's it pay and what is this and that, and I need a helicopter. And those guys just like drove down, and did it, man. And there was no guess about it, no ego bullshit. It was just very, very cool.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And of course, when Rudolph is telling you that sort of stage direction and stuff, you sort of look there and go, you know what? He's been in this biz 50 years. What he says is what we do, right? I mean,
Oh yeah, man.
that's kind of the way.
Absolutely.
Were you a Scorpion fans growing up? Did you own any of the albums? Did you emulate any of Herman or any of the other drummers that were in the band?
I absolutely. I mean, I was not. The first record I saw in the stores when I was just starting to buy vinyl was Tokyo Tapes, and
Yeah.
so I was not really like into them in the very early. I kind of had to go back a bit from where I started, but I guess Love Drive just ripped my face off. And then, of course, Schenker, Michael and the whole UFO connection,
Yep.
who, I have sort of a past with Pete and Paul, and I was a huge UFO fan. So that whole thing got me going. And I just thought, man, these guys, they're so unique. And they just tear it up, and they're from Germany. That's really cool. Like it wasn't really like a common thing. And then I loved Blackout record and saw them a few times in Philly with various other bands, time with Ted Nugent, Def Leppard. I mean,
Yeah.
all kinds of. They were just right up in there with my top 20 bands of the time for me growing up. So always loved it. And Herman is now actually a friend of mine. I love James. I've known him since the Kingdom Come days and playing together some shows with Britney and all. So there's all these connections that kind of, you know, come full circle.
Yep.
And, I always loved Herman's just simplicity, but effectiveness and James's stuff after that was always great because he's also very simple, but, a pounder and yeah, and forget about it. I mean, Michael Schenker on some stuff, and Rudolph is just one of a kind. Matthias is unbelievable, and Klaus's voice. I mean, forget it. It's all
Undeniable. Now,
yeah.
the other thing you mentioned, Tokyo Tapes. You'll be happy to know because we spoke about it during the interview with Rudolph. They are re-releasing Tokyo Tapes in November with bonus tracks and demos and the whole thing. That and one of the other albums. So that's something to look forward to for you. Something to go
That's
pick
great.
up. Now,
Yeah,
something else to look forward to for fans of yours is Brittany Fox is back, reunited. How is that coming along?
it's coming along good. It For anyone that hasn't heard yet, it is myself, Billy Childs, our second vocalist, Mr. Tommy Paris, and a new guitarist named Chris Sanders from the West Coast. And so we really are kind of starting at Bite Down Hard and kind of moving in that direction. So, just because of the time that's passed and whatnot, not to put any precursors on it or anything like that, but it is that lineup, and it's we're gonna try and stay true to what we did on that record and kind of take it to the current time. It's very we're just kind of trying to find ourselves still at the moment, but it's pretty exciting actually. We got a couple gigs in the works, and I'm looking forward to reuniting as a band and playing live to kind of get the feel and everything back, because we have done a little bit of jamming and writing and recording some demos in the studio, but that's a necessity and fun creatively, but playing live is always the true test.
Is in fact, what is the timeline for a new album? This is something that you're looking for 2016 or something before Christmas, or so what's the timeline?
We're not exactly sure. We did considered throwing like a single out,
Mm-hmm.
just to kind of get the ball rolling, which I think would be cool rather than people having to wait too long till next year for like a full thing. So I don't know. I guess we're looking for a little feedback, from fans and whatnot to see what people would actually prefer, if they would like to hear a song. I guess that would, to me, would pretty much be like you would know what people thought pretty quick if you just got a single out there and let them get their ears on it, and then
Mm-hmm.
where to kind of go with a full release.
Yeah.
So you know
Speaking of singles, you did put out that one song on this Nintendo White Knuckle scoring compilation. You could re-record "Turn On" and put that out.
We did. We re-recorded that on our live album, Long Way to Live, back in like 2000, and yeah, it's a kick-ass version, and I really do like the song. I mean, I wish it would have been on an album because not everybody was familiar with it. That's why we kind of put it in the live set
Oh.
because it was more of like one of our favorite songs, and just the way it all came about. We were in the middle of recording Bite Down Hard, and that became available through our label to do a tune for that Nintendo record, which I don't know whatever happened with any of that, but I know there was some cool stuff on there. There was a jellyfish track, which I was a huge jellyfish fan, and
Flush
some
for
other.
Lulu.
Oh man, yeah, really out there shit as well.
Yeah, but hey, listen, that'd be a good song to re-record and get a studio version. Now, speaking of studios and studio albums, Rudolph didn't call me because we're best friends. He called me because we had to talk about the new Scorpions Return to Forever album, an album which I have actually purchased. I didn't bother getting a promo or anything. I spent the money on it, and I'm so glad I did. I think it's great. It brings you back to that period from like 1980 to 1990. I don't want to call it hair metal, but it's got this nice big hooks, great melodies, just a fantastic album. I don't know if you've had a chance to hear it, but it's really good stuff. Really, really good stuff.
I I have not, but what I have heard of their later catalog has actually been really cool. The
Yeah.
one where they redid, re-recorded a bunch of tunes, and I think they just really always had a quality uh, with their releases. It seems like they put really, really a lot of time and thought into what they do, and it's always really good. So I'm looking forward to hearing that as well.
Yeah, so let's get right into Rudolph. We also speak about their new Scorpions documentary, Forever and a Day. You have a story about that, but we'll keep it for after the interview. Here's Rudolph.
Mitch,
Hey, Rudolph, how are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
Good, good. It's always a pleasure to speak to you. It's been about I guess 4 years since we last spoke. It was for the last album,
4 years, a
something like
long
that.
time.
Long, long time. Um,
Yes,
Now we've only got 15 minutes, so I'm gonna get started
you
because
have to hurry up.
there's a lot to talk about. First of all, the new album, Return to Forever. I actually bought the Japanese version with all kinds of bonus tracks. I think it is fantastic. I love it.
Thank you very much. Great to hear that because I thought that this album also it's a very good album we did, but the reason was actually this album was supposed to be a bonus track album,
Okay.
but not in the whole perspective. There was a leftover kind of idea
Right.
until I found this book my mother did when she was taking care that I paid the money back my father gave me to buy equipment.
Right.
And she said, okay, you paying the half money back to your father, the half is pocket money for you guys. And I found this book by accident by looking for some old tracks. And instead of old tracks, I found this book. And this book started on the September of 1965. And that was actually the situation when I went down to in the studio to my friends and I said, look, guys, next year is 50 years
Yeah.
of Scorpions. That's unbelievable. Our manager immediately said, hey, guys, this is something to celebrate because after we already announced this farewell tour,
Mm-hmm.
we were sure about that. But by having this 50 years in mind and celebrating that, we said, okay, look around what you can do. And he called all the promoters and they were for completely in it. And we said, okay, if we do a 50 years tour, 50 years anniversary tour, then we have to do a new album.
Yeah.
By working on the bonus track album and then writing also new stuff, we were very much locked in the DNA of the real 80s because the leftover, working on that, changing maybe choruses and then go further and writing the new stuff. We actually were completely in this kind of DNA.
Right.
And the good kind of reviews said this album fits perfectly between Love at First Sting and Savage Amusement.
Oh, I fully agree. Now, you mentioned that you had this sort of bonus CD that you were planning on, to do. Is that still going to happen, or are the songs all on return?
No, because
they're all on.
let's say this way. No, this is not happening anymore because we took all the stuff and we really placed it in a right way that these songs are from the old time. We let's say worked over that and made it very, very good, fitting in this time, coming back to the roots with a twist. But the other thing is that because of Dear Dirks, he sold the whole back catalog to BMG. So, and they are doing the 50 years back catalog re-release with all the mixing new and with mastering and putting bonus stuff from the old days in, because and filming and the Mail Square show and. So in this case, we have two things. One is the new album, A Return to Forever, which goes for the 50 years anniversary tour.
Right.
But also in the situation, because this album, back catalog wasn't available in the rest of the world, except America and Canada, the last, I think, 12 years not possible to get. So in this case, we will release also the back catalog with what I said, bonus tracks and all the stuff, but not anymore. We have nothing left. Everything is now somehow, which we think it's great. We put on
CD.
A Return to Forever.
Let me ask you. Speaking of back catalog, Uli Jon Roth has posted on his Facebook that him and Klaus were doing these interviews concerning the re-releases of Tokyo Tapes and Taken by Force. That's going to happen in November. Talk to me a little bit about the importance of those two albums in your career.
I mean, this Taken by Force actually was already an album where Uli was already with his mind next to his girlfriend, Monika Dannemann, which was the latest girlfriend of Jimi Hendrix.
Right.
And he was already in the situation to leave the band. So the Taken by Force was actually a very good album from the song-wise, but somehow in the whole chemistry, there was a break because Uli thought that that is now his time. He got this guitar from Jimi Hendrix, the Black Strat, and he felt like Jimi Hendrix. So in this case, he was he still worked on this album, no question about this. But I think not as good as he normally would do. But anyway, good enough. Because Klaus and me, we became stronger as a writing team. So, and the songs were very good. Then Uli was already on the way to leave to do his own thing. Then we got this offer from Japan to do this 5 days Sun Plaza Hall Japan thing. So he said, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. We convinced him and said, look, Uli, think about that. This could be a testament of your time in the Scorpions, because we are always strong live, and playing in Japan and doing the whole thing would be fantastic. Okay, in the end, he said, hey guys, I'm with you. But after this Tokyo Tapes thing, after that, I will leave the band. We said, all right. So, and it worked fantastic to play with Uli in Japan, and playing in front of the Japanese people was fantastic. And we not gave 100%, we gave 150%. And this is what this album, you can feel that this is unbelievable, The Japanese fans, they were crazy. They were completely in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was the basic. It was a great, let's say, basement, or the basic to go then and do a worldwide career,
Right.
including United States, and because after that, Love Drive came,
Mm-hmm.
and with Love Drive, where I had all the pressure to compose all the songs, it was somehow a good provement that we had this feeling, or we know that Uli will leave, and we have to get somehow something done also without him.
I know we've only got about 10 more minutes, so I'm going to sort of jump around. In the 50 years that you've been to Scorpions and in the band, were there any times where you thought about leaving, maybe during the Eye to Eye era, or where you just said, okay, I've just had enough? Or have you always just been committed to the Scorpions and that's all?
No, I tell you one thing, I mean, I was very much into the Eastern philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
and Chinese or more Indian, but what I know is that everything comes back only with a twist. You have to go to sleep and let's say save your energy until to the moment when the time is back on your side. And that's what I know extremely. And I told the other guys, I said, look guys, let's keep this time for experimenting.
Right.
Let's see what we can do. Let's see what is possible for us. It will be not the Scorpions maybe, but we know then what really it's what we are. And that we found out actually after Eye to Eye. When we got the, even a little bit before Eye to Eye, in 1994, I got a telephone call from the head of EMI, EMI, who called me and said, Rudolf, can you think about that you guys can make an album with the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra?
Right.
I said, what? He said, yes. I said, you think we're good enough? I said, these guys want to do it with you because they turned down Pink Floyd because they said when we do something, the crossover thing, then we're doing it with the Scorpions. So in this case, we were looking around for the right arranger and found him, Christian Kolonowitz. We worked with the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra, and by working with this great, one of the best orchestra in the world, and being able to fulfill the standards, we notice also by listening to our songs with the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra, we noticed how good our songs are, and that we have to go back to where we came from. And after we did Acústica in Portugal,
Right.
and then we went immediately back to where we came from, going back to rock, going to Unbreakable, working with Desmond Child on this album Humanity Hour 1. And then we found...
Sorry, I was just going to say, I love that album. Humanity Hour 1.
That was
album.
Experiment, a rocking experiment with James Michael and with Desmond Child. Yes, it was a great thing to work with American composers and writers and do something with Desmond Child. It was great.
It was great.
So,
yeah.
but that gave us the chance to find two other guys. Michael Nord Andersen and Martin Hansen.
Right.
These guys, Michael Nord Andersen, born in Sweden. One of his first albums were in trance. He was born actually with the Scorpions DNA, and that's the reason he became a partner now. From Sting in the Tail until now, he's our man. These two guys.
Yeah, they're great.
Martin and Michael. And that's the reason why we were able to make this album Return to Forever.
Yeah, I want to ask you one more thing because we've only got about 4 minutes to go. The documentary Forever and a Day. It started off as sort of chronicling the farewell tour. We were going to get, the band was on the road. We were going to get the last shows and have this sort of ending kind of documentary. It changed in scope as the band decided not to retire. Uh, it's coming out August 14th. I only see that it's coming out in Germany. I don't know about the rest of the world. Tell me a little bit about that documentary and what it meant to you to sort of capture the band's history on film.
We got a lot of offers to make a film like this, but all of this kind of films and what I want to do was not right. So when we did the farewell tour, and
Right.
there was the right team, including this filmmaker called Katja von Garnier, which
Yes.
was already well known as a great filmmaker, and she is a woman. And that was a great thing because men that tried to get the macho out of the band, and this woman was very sensitive to get the band behind the face. And that was the great thing about it. And our situation of the farewell tour was really true. But the point is that even MTV Unplugged, even then the 50 years of Scorpions came in between. That means on one hand, we noticed how many fans we have, especially young fans. If you think about that, 80%, now we have 8 or 9 million fans, and there are the priority of 80% is between 18 and 28.
Wow.
So in this case, by finding out that and really seeing all the strategies on airports and so, oh, you can't go and please stay, or in our Facebook, internet, we got a different picture. We noticed how much it means for the people, our music. And then finding out the 50 years, we changed. And this changing, you can see in the film. You can see also the connection to the fans. You can see also that this band is not a band made by a manager or made by a great team of whatever. That is the band who started from Germany. Try to show there is a new generation coming from Germany. They're not coming with tanks and making war. They're coming with guitars and playing music and bringing music, love, and peace. That's the reason why I always say we stay on 3 feet. Love, peace, and rock and roll. Love stands for Still Lovin You, peace for Wind of Change, and rock and roll for Rockin' Like a Hurricane. And this is the message of the Scorpions. That's the reason why we traveled also very early into Russia, into Asia, because we wanted to play everywhere in the world. And Katja von Garnier, she wrote this picture perfectly with the film to the audience.
I'm going to finish with this because we're running out of time. Michael, your brother, he was part of the Scorpions in the beginning. He left the band. We know the history. Looking back, do you wish that he had stayed with the Scorpions? Do you sort of wish that maybe you had taken more time back in the day and say, hey, Michael, UFO is great, but stay with us?
Look, my brother was perfect for the Scorpions.
Agreed.
But the problem was only that there's maybe the situation that 2 Schenkers in one band are too much. You can see it with Van Halen.
Right.
Van Halen, the 2 brothers, they also had very often fights and arguments and stuff like this. We never had this, my brother and me. But my brother, he wants to make his own experience.
Right.
So in this case, he preferred more to make his own way instead of celebrating, let's say, a big career.
Right.
And being a big rock star. He always tried out his talent, and he wants to make it even in a smaller way. I thought that my brother in the band would be like the perfect rock and roll band.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's the way how it is. I often talk about with him. He is happy with his way. we are happy with our way. With Matthias, we found a guitar player who really, it's very much based on being a guitar player and doing the best for the songs for the band.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just finish with this. James Kottak, your drummer, got into a little bit of trouble. I don't want to discuss it, but I just want to say that I admire the band for sticking by him. It would have been so easy just to replace him and throw him out and let him go. And you guys stuck with him, and I admire that and I respect that.
We are 50 years on the road, 50 years with rock and roll, because when I started the band, I was looking always for good musicians, but also band people I can make a friendship, I can build a friendship with.
Right.
That's the only way I like to function. Everything else, it's not my way, and that's the reason why Klaus is the perfect partner in writing. James is a perfect drummer now. Matthias a perfect guitar player. And Pavel from Poland, a great bass player, perfect bass player. In this case, we're celebrating what maybe many people in the world can't do because of different kind of thinking. The musician can show different people from different countries. They don't have a problem if they have a same language. And our language is music, and that's the reason why we're still standing.
Great. Rudolf, great pleasure. I look forward to seeing you in Montreal on September 19th at the Bell Center.
Yeah, thank you. We're looking very much forward. One of my favorite cities, by the way.
Oh, it's a great city and a great band. It's going to be a fantastic night, a perfect night, as they say.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Rudolf.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye. There you have it, my interview with Scorpions guitarist Rudolf Schenker. The new album is Return to Forever. They are, of course, on their 50th anniversary tour. Speaking of live shows, Heavy Montreal, August 7th, 8th, and 9th. Korn, Slipknot, Faith No More, and hopefully someday Britney Fox. Right? Wouldn't that be nice?
That would be excellent.
That would be.
I'd even pull double duty just to play that festival.
That's right. It should be Britney Fox on Saturday and Doro on Sunday.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, that's definitely got to happen for Heavy Montreal 2016. Just quickly back to Rudolf and the Scorpions. They also have the new Scorpions documentary, Forever and a Day. And you actually got to see it in one of the most unique places.
I did. On a Lufthansa flight from Philly to Frankfurt.
I mean, what kind of in-flight entertainment is that? I mean, that's what is it, a rockin' flight?
Well, Lufthansa is pretty awesome. I mean, I really do. I've grown to love Germany a lot since I've been coming here for the last 23 years. So I much prefer flying that airline to any American airline, I have to say.
Right.
Sorry to be, anti-American, but
No, but we're talking Lufthansa. The European airlines, Air France, SAS, they're all fantastic. British Airways, of course, they're all great.
I mean, for nothing else, you get free alcohol, and now U.S. Air has to charge you for beers or wine. I mean, come on, you know what I mean? I just spent a G or whatever it happens to be to fly, and now you're going to charge me $10 for a beer. No. Anyway, that's just me being, pissy. But
but you're right, though. I mean, remember in the good old days where you could actually bring your luggage with you on a trip? I mean, what a concept.
Yeah, right.
And now it's what, $50 a bag or whatever the hell.
Dude, up to 100 sometimes. It's ridiculous, man.
It's a bag. It should be included. When I fly, I need new clothes.
Right.
Let me. But whatever. Anyway.
Yeah. So
Forever and a Day.
First of all, 50 years. I mean, come on, Scorpions. It's amazing. It's really what an accomplishment. How cool. And the documentary was cool because I just stumbled on it on this flight. I thought maybe it's an older thing. I didn't even really know anything about it. So,
no. And
the language said German, but I figure I can get through it. And it was cool, man. It was interesting. They went back, showed a lot of older footage and just showed them on this farewell tour, which ended up being sort of the catalyst for them to have a whole new start. It's just really crazy. how, these bands we know and love are really, their lifespan has been, extended so long. It's like nobody knows how to really react to this stuff. I mean, I'm in a band that is changing members, and and people get so, sometimes I have to split my fan brain and my musician brain in half and just be like, look, it is what it is. And we have to just, if you like the music, you just kind of have to put certain things aside and enjoy it for what it is, And that's what I try to do. That documentary was cool, and I really enjoyed watching it.
It's a great piece of work. And for those who haven't seen it, it comes out on DVD on August 14th. The only place I have been able to find it is on Amazon Germany, amazon.de. Hopefully it'll be released in the rest of the world, because I think that's something that is definitely worth seeing. Speaking of DE, you want to check out Johnny with Doro, you can head over to doromusic.de. And if you want to check out Brittany Fox, it is brittanyfox.com. Any Montreal shows or Canadian shows for Brittany anytime soon?
Well, we're just starting to get into bookings and stuff, and so far we have one show in Atlanta, Farm Rock Festival. That's, I believe, in November of 2015, and
with Autograph.
Woo! Yeah. Turn up the radio, baby.
Just a quick question on Brittany Fox. After all these years of the band being inactive, what was that moment where you said, hey, you know what, this would be fun to do again?
I don't know if it was an immediate just thought like that. I mean, it literally has been just a kind of a source of frustration over all those inactive years of like, what is the problem? Like, we were always a sort of dysfunctional band, but the band had something, and it had good tunes and a chemistry and a cool live show, and it was just, I would just sit there and go like, why aren't we doing it? It was more of that, and it just, the couple failed attempts, and trying to get original members to pool their arms to want to do it, and it's like, why do we have to make it so difficult? You know what I mean? It's only fucking rock and roll. It's like, let's go out and have fun and play for fans that actually like this band. It's not a big thing. It really is. We were fortunate enough to have that kind of success, and I don't know why you wouldn't want to continue that, whether it's okay, so we can't last a year on tour on the road anymore, but we can certainly go out and do some cool shows, even if it's 20, 50 a year in the summer, festivals, go out, have fun, and that was it, man. I would just like, who wants to do it, doesn't. That was all it was. And then those were the dudes that kind of put their hands up, and here we are.
Yeah, and it's also getting to a point, as all of us get a little bit older, you got to do it before you just physically can't. You can't be 75 going, oh, we should have gone on tour. I mean, it's just like, all right, you might have had a disagreement here, or whatever record company did this to you.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know what? We're 45, 50. Just go play. Have some fun.
Yeah, it comes down to, I mean, obviously you don't want to go out and do, a tour to 6 people or whatever. It just would go, financially it would be brutal, and, and you just couldn't have a lot of fun because you would be, too concerned with that. But if there's people out there that legitimately want to experience the music again and did like the stuff, and and it's part of all the stuff that's going on, whether it's a resurgence or just a nostalgic type thing. That's the thing I mean, it is nostalgia. I don't care what anybody calls it or doesn't want to call. Most people, we're going to be a current band. It's like bullshit, man. You know what I mean? You're not going to be a new band because you're 50 years old and you're just, you've done what you've done, and like, just go out and be realistic about it and have fun. So that's all I ever wanted to do. I just want to play and have people enjoy it, and that's pretty much why I started doing this when I was a kid.
Yeah, and you're right. When you listen to Rudolph during the interview, that's exactly the vibe I got. He wasn't listening. Scorpions are not reinventing the wheel. We've been here 50 years. We are proud of every year. We're going to come out. We're going to play the hits, the songs you love. We're just going to have fun. And I think
Yeah.
that's what every band should do. You know, you got to stop taking yourself so seriously sometimes in rock. You just got to rock, right?
Yeah.
It's really that simple. Check me out at Mitch Lafon on Twitter, and check out at Brittany Fox. So that's at Brittany_Fox. Follow the band.
Yeah.
Johnny,
No, by the way, no E in Brittany. Just, because
no,
I know I
that's
see a lot.
Britney Spears. That's not what we want. We want
That's
Brittany
two
Fox.
T's and an A and a Y. I mean, it's just Britny, just
_Fox. And of course,
exactly.
same thing, BrittanyFox.com. Always a pleasure, Johnny. Had a chance to chit chat and meet plenty of times. We got off Noah's Ark in Lewiston, Maine.
Exactly.
We've
Met up
survived.
in Toronto and Montreal a few
Yeah.
times, and yeah, it's cool, man. Always a good time to talk to you. And
I just want to mention that Maine thing again. Did you just remember that, where we were in this arena, and I forget what it was, maybe just the Lewiston, Maine Civics, and we were backstage, and there was a ramp that went down backstage to for the loading and unloading, and the water was literally pouring and up to my ankles. And I'm like, what the hell is it?
yeah,
There was no lake or river or ocean next to us.
it was insane, man. It's
I mean,
weird. I totally forgot about that, but now I remember these just craters in the parking lot trying to get to the vehicle and stuff, and it was just like, forget it, man.
I know, it was unbelievable. I don't think I've ever seen that much rain. But our plan was to drive to the show, because we're up in Montreal. Drive to the show. It's 4 or 5 hours away. Drive home after. It was just not doable. We might have swam home after, but forget drive. So we ended up in the Ramada Inn, and I will thank Stephen Piercy publicly for that, because it was he had an extra room on his rider that he gave to us, and he said, just use it. But
Nice.
but man, what an event! What an event! Was that the last show you've played together, or did you? No, you must have played after that.
I don't even recall. I know
what
that
tour was that?
That was a one-off. I think that was
a one-off.
around that was around the live album time, or the time when we did get back together around 2000, 2001.
And it was like the Rock Never Stops tour, something like that.
Yeah, and we got added to it just off the cuff, and we had done another gig somewhere out in Ohio, where it was like a racetrack gig. I mean, there was so few. We did a short club tour, which was funny enough. It was Doro and Brittany together. We did 10 shows pretty much on the East Coast, and I pulled double duty on that. And I think I had bronchitis at the same time. It was just oh my God, man, if I don't die after this, it'll be, I'll just be, I don't know what I was
Iron
thinking,
Man.
but yeah, I mean,
that's got to be
really
tough on a drummer, though, right? I mean, other than the singer to do double duty because you blow out your vocal cords, I think drummer's got to be the second hardest position to do double duty.
It's definitely physical, and at that time, I mean, it's horrible when try to play drums full on and cough at the same time. I mean, you can literally pull something like your neck, or it's just really hard. Yeah, because you have no control over your limbs. You can't even cover your mouth, and it's really nuts. Or sneezing when you're drumming, it's whew.
And it's got to be difficult too to do a 45-minute set, then take half an hour off where you're cooling down, your muscles are getting cold and stiff, and then you got to go back and do an hour set. You're like, ooh. Guitarist is not so bad. You just got to sort of keep the fingers moving, but.
Well, I was used to it. I mean, Doro doesn't exactly play a short show. I mean, when we're in the position to headline and we play, I mean, it's totally over 2 hours, maybe 2.5, and sometimes 3. And it's so really with an opening set and then a Britney set, it was probably half of a normal Doro show. So if I wasn't sick at the time, it wouldn't have been anything major for me. But it was fun.
Anyway, it's definitely a double bill that I would like to see, and I would love to see both bands getting a slot at Heavy Montreal 2016. I think that would be fun for the fans, and of course, fun for you guys.
Oh yeah, I would
There you
love
go.
that. Definitely.
Always a pleasure, and thank you to Rudolf for being a guest as well. Johnny, we'll have to do a full in-depth Brittany Fox interview at some point as well.
Sure, man.
Sounds good.
Yeah, whenever you want. Thanks, Mitch.
Absolutely.